What's up, guys and gals? It is Wednesday still, officially, so you know what that means. It's time for another chapter review of Kengan Omega, chapter 348, entitled The Fate of the Villain. I'm going to be straight up with you guys. It's really late. I'm exhausted. March is usually one of my busiest months of the year, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to scrutinize this chapter. I read it quickly on my lunch break, and yeah, after this I'm going straight to bed. So, the long and short of it is, I have a couple of questions overall for this chapter. The end matchup. What does Shen want? Like, what rule change, obviously. What rule change is going to take place? And why did Lu not destroy the tracker? I can think of a reason, but I'm still behind. As I said, I did not have a chance to even check the Coma Key comments, no Discord, no Reddit, no nothing here today. So basically, like, I'm still in a work shirt, you know what I mean? So I'm just going to straight up say it. The art is good. Lu dog walking this end of the fight, no interruption, no bullshit. Just stomps on, earthquake foot on his hand. He's already done his foot, does his hand, then he does his arm. He's shattering everything that Nicholas freaking has, and I'm here for it. I'm 100% here for it. Man deserves it. He was retconned into the series, which is sort of like most people who criticize Kengan would say, like, they sort of want their cake and eat it too, you know what I mean? They're sort of like, okay, so Nicholas was always Jean, and it's like, alright, we can accept that, blah, blah, blah. And Nicholas was dead. And it's like, okay, and that was told to us. And then we sort of, and I accepted, it's a bit of a retcon, but we sort of said that, hey, the memories of a crazy guy aren't exactly reliable, and which is actual, like, the psychosis of that has so many places, in movies, in fiction, in reality, in just, mental institutions, etc., that I'm sort of like, alright, I buy this, that, you create this persona and stuff like that. Like, anybody seen Secret Window, the Johnny Depp movie? Underrated Johnny Depp movie. But still, a lot of these things are based on that idea that people don't know, or identity. Like, there's so many films that do this. And the idea that we cannot take the account of a guy who's already gone crazy or was half crazy to begin with and then went full crazy. We can't take his account of events into consideration. Regardless, call it a retcon. Go ahead. The problem is, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You cannot sit there and complain that Nicholas retcon and come back was so bad, it's so terrible, but I want him to be top 5. I want him to be a super villain. I want him to kick ass. That's kind of a little bit, are you Dudley Dursley? You had 36 presidents last year, now you want 37? Like, you can have it one of two ways. You can be mad at the retcon of bringing Nicholas back, in my mind, right? You can be mad at that. And then be like, okay, I don't care. As soon as he's off screen, Lu kick his ass. We're Lu fanboys in this house. Cool. He beat the shit out of him. He did it stylish. It was badass. The art was good. The choreography was good. Awesome. Or you can be mad at, hey, they brought in this named villain who we thought was dead. I'm really expecting high expectations from him. And then he, lost in his second fight. And he got dog-walked in his second fight. You can't take the negatives from both of those, combine them into one, and say the whole thing's negative. That's just, once again, cake, eat it too. So, it is what it is. I'm sorry. You want both. You want everything for dinner, but you only have one stomach. I'm just saying. So yeah, my big thing here is that Lu. I'm okay with the way that Nicholas went out, because what it does is, most people weren't happy with the retcon anyways. That's the reason I bring it up, okay? There's a basis for this. This is preliminary. The reason I bring all this up, all the, old dusty secrets under the bed, is because establishing all that, Lu has always been a fan favorite character. I don't know why, but people love him. And honestly, this fight got me a little bit on that bandwagon. Not gonna lie. So maybe I'm just now seeing what a lot of people saw back in Purgatory. And they've been loving Lou ever since, and they want to see Lou succeed. So I'm like, cool. Excellent. He's got this great fight. He dog walks. He dominates. You have a character you didn't want back in the first place because you call it a shitty retcon, and then a fan favorite character dominates the shit out of that retcon character, and you're still mad. I mean, I'm kind of happy with that because it's like the best of both worlds in my mind. Like, most people are putting the negative and the negative together in this situation. I'm putting together the two positives. Lou gets to strut his stuff, show off being a badass. We complete that storyline that Lou's been going down. Nicholas was a retcon character back from the dead that a lot of people weren't happy was returned from the dead anyways. So why are you mad that he got his shipwrecked by a fan favorite character? I'm good with it. I am happy with that. If you're not happy with it, once again, a little bit of the Dudley Dursley syndrome going on up in there. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, no, I was really happy with that section. My biggest complaint, and I sort of get why he's doing this, but it means Nicholas is not down and out, is that he even calls him out for not finishing him off. He damages him to the point that he's not physically able to remove his wristwatch anymore. So they're always going to know his location. And I think that's Lou's point. Lou's like, oh, no. I'm not breaking the watch. You're still going to be a member in here. But I'm going to make it known. I think he's sort of like, you're going to suffer. And maybe somebody will come along and finish your ass off because your tracker's still active, bitch. You know, that's the only way I can take the reason that he beat the shit out of him, left him for dead, but didn't destroy the Apple Watch. What do you guys think? That's what I'm going off of. And the fact that Nicholas wants to take it off is because he wants to regroup, he wants to recover, he wants to go incognito, and then still be a part of the game without being tracked. It's a worm thing, you know? And respect on that. That's probably the best plan in this situation, and Lou's having none of it. So the fight ends with Lou 100% the victor. I'm good with it because Lou did not allow Nicholas to utilize his style to its fullest form. Similar, it's not showcased and spelled out as much, but in the same way that Hatsumi did not allow Bando to use his abilities because Hatsumi was gauging the distance, playing that long game, he did not allow Bando, he confined Bando to the limits of what he could do with his attack style and capitalized on that. Lou just did the same thing, and people are mad because Nicholas caught it too late. But between a combat veteran and a master martial artist, it's sort of a different playing field, and Nicholas went in there overconfident and assumed, and he looked down on a martial artist not being able to defeat him in the woods, getting that Mutaba sort of attitude, and underestimating Lou heavily to his downfall. So by the time he couldn't utilize his techniques, to their fullest extent, his style to his fullest extent, and by the time he started going for it, Lou had already captured his movements and his number because he was toying with him off screen beforehand. That's why Lou was so damaged. But he was toying with him. Instead of one-shotting, trying to finish him off from the get-go, which he probably could have done, he was arrogant. And now we're seeing the fallout from that. And so I'm 100% happy with that whole build-up to the fight, the entirety of what happened during the fight. Everything about that fight is fine. I don't hear, complain all you want, but I'm good with it. If you got complaints, I'm sure some of them are legit, some of them aren't. But at the end of the day, I really just, I sit back and I just wonder what the fuck is going to make Kengan fans happy. I really don't know anymore. If this doesn't make you happy, then I don't know what will. I really don't anymore. So, yeah, I mean, I read this chapter, as I said, on the lunch break. I zoomed through it. I managed to reread it really quick afterwards to pay closer attention. I was just like, yeah, this is pretty hype. I was happy. The one thing I'm unhappy with is the end part. Before we get to that, the middle part after that is Shen is already right there at the final gate waiting past the third area because he's already there and he's waiting and he ends with him and blah, 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 blah. And Shen's just like, this has been too easy. So he's like, hey, Kengan Association, can you hear me sort of idea? Like, I want this to be more fun. Like, this hasn't been... He's not having a good time like yet. So he wants to make things more interesting. I assume they're going to add some crazy rule while in the third area before they hit the final area. That Shen's going to, obviously a handicap to make things more interesting for him. And the Kengan Association is likely to accept, and we'll hear about that probably next chapter, the chapter after that, 350-ish. And then we can speculate on that all day, but I assume Shen means to handicap himself to make this more enjoyable, more fun. And that's my prevailing theory. I assume most people are on board with that one. And the final part, of course, is Himura. He shows up, our icy emperor. He shows up. He's looking good. He's looking, he's taking his smokes out and blah, blah, blah. And he runs into Waka. And they chit-chat for a little bit, sort of idea like, been pretty quiet. And we don't know if they've managed to defeat that one opponent yet or not, or either or. But Himura is the one to be like, all right, and Waka's like, really? You want to go against me? And Himura's like, you want to fight? And he's like, I know I don't stand a chance, but fuck it, I'm not running away. Let's do this, Waka. So, I assume most people, as I said, didn't have much time to read any comments at all. But I'm assuming most people are kind of like, come on, what a wash. Like the Lu fight was good with the Nicholas stuff, but I want the next matchup. People are hungry for the next match that might be a good fight, like Gao Lang versus Ryan. And Waka versus Himura is a bit of a walk. It's definitely not what I expected. I hope we don't spend more than a chapter on it because, let's be honest, you either injure Waka, and that's not a good thing for the next fights. And Himura gets to look good, but no matter what, ends up losing. Or Waka just dominates him anyways, and sort of, I'm not going to say it's a waste of panels, but kinda. So that's an honest critique, from a Kengan fan. This matchup seems disproportional and kind of a waste of pages and time, because I want to see Himura do well, but against Waka he's not, and even if he does really well against Waka, that he's never going to win, and that's only going to injure Waka, and then Waka's going to have a handicap throughout the rest of this gauntlet. And I'd like to think that Waka's also kind of a fan favorite, the Tiger himself, so I'm sitting there like, a little bit, no, that ain't hitting. The rest of the chapter hit really well, the Lu versus Nicholas thing, and I'm happy to see Himura, and I'm happy to see Waka, but I don't like them fighting each other because it's an obvious wash or detrimental to both fighters. There's not really a win-win scenario here that I can foresee, but I'm also really, really tired and hopefully going to get this thing out by midnight. So, yeah, either way, yeah, I think I covered everything. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. Anyways, alright guys, that's it for me. Hopefully this comes out on Wednesday or early Thursday morning. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here next week, which hopefully I'll be much more well-rested and animated to talk about Chapter 349. Don't mistake my tiredness for disliking the chapter. 348 was fine. I had my problems with that end part, as I said, but I think the Lu versus Nicholas thing was absolutely great. It's not just good, it was great. I'm happy with Shen sort of throwing another wrench into the mix, obviously. What is that wrench going to be? We'll have to find out next week. So, thanks guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys back here next time. Have a good one. Sayonara.